Hey everybody, so at least we got good news. We found a house, we signed an agreement, and we are moving in 2 weeks time, from the 12th to the 18th of June. So yeah, we ended up finding a place not too far away from the school. I guess probably about a 15-minute walk from the school if the kids had to walk. It's just literally a 4-minute drive from the school. It's a beautiful area, very old house. Remember in the last video I talked about that house, a very old house, but I mean it's still a solid house and it's big enough and it's got plenty of space, and the garden looks horrible, but then again that's a good thing. That means I don't need to mow the lawns or anything. So anyway, good news, yay, we found a house, we paid the deposit, it's all approved, so we're all good. Hopefully next year, well, it's a 1-year contract, we're only doing a 1-year contract, and then hopefully by the time that one expires, maybe things would have settled down and, you know, there'd be a little bit more normalcy. But I must say, I do feel like there are some changes already starting to happen. You know, it's like, in this last little bit, maybe there weren't that many people that applied for these houses and things like that. And I spoke to a couple of realtors also that were saying that the exponential growth where people were getting so much over their asking price and sales are also starting to slow down, because they say the Bank of Canada is going to raise rates by another 0.5% this month. So, you know, things are slowing down, touch wood. But here's a tip for you. So just a little bit of extra information when it comes to rentals. And then I'm going to ask a question, because there's something, some guy told Belinda, one of the gentlemen at her work told her that he's been renting all his properties in Vancouver off of a Mandarin-only property site. And she couldn't get the name, and the guy wasn't there again today. So if any of you know about that, that would be very interesting. Apparently, according to him, there's this property site, rentals and sales, I believe, that only advertises in Mandarin. It's in Mandarin, so you've got to use Google Translate to see what's going on there. And it's a lot of the owners from China, the overseas owners that own properties here, they advertise on that site. And the prices there are a lot cheaper, because generally they don't work through agencies, you know, and they're sitting abroad and they just renting out the property they bought here, so they're not that much up to date with what's happening in the market at the moment. Apparently he's been renting from there all his life, and he gets stuff a lot, well, not a lot, but significantly cheaper renting through there. So that would be an interesting one to go and research. I'm going to try and find out the name, but if any of you know, that would be great. The other thing that I wanted to say is, when you get to looking at a property and you were in the situation like we were, how we finally managed to get a property was what we actually made an offer. See, the problem is not getting a property. The problem is that when there's so many people applying for the same property, 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 applications, you know, the landlord can pick and choose. They can really decide who they want in their property. And what do? They always pick the guys with the highest income, or the guys with the best credit record. I mean, that's just normal. That's what you will do. So what we did for the last 2 properties that we had a look at and where we put in offers to rent, I said to Belinda, well, why don't we offer them to pay them like 3 months rent as a deposit, or pay 6 months rent up front. And that actually worked. We actually got approved for both of those homes, because what that does is they look at it and they go, oh shit, well, if this guy is willing to pay that much up front, you know, number one, it's money straight in our pocket, or you know, it means that he's really serious. And it makes your application stand out. Strangely enough though, this house that we got, we made the same offer, that we would pay 6 months rent up front, or 3 months holding deposit, just to secure it, because obviously, you know, we haven't been here that long, so we don't have much of a credit record. Our credit scores are still very low. You know, and income, I work for myself, so I don't have pay slips and stuff like that. But anyway, weirdly enough, what I wanted to say was, so they approved us for the house, and when they sent the contract through, they actually didn't charge the 3 months rent up front or the 6 months option that we offered. They were just like, no, pay half a month's deposit and go on. I guess it also maybe, you know, the landlord and the agent looks at it and goes, oh, okay, cool, these guys are really, really serious about living here, and if they're willing to pay that much up front, then they're probably going to be good tenants. I don't know the psychology, but it seemed to have worked. As a matter of fact, we did exactly the same thing when we rented this place, because we arrived here and we were looking for a place, and it was the same. You know, you need to fill out all these forms, proof of income, blah, 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 and we're brand new. And we did the same thing. We said, we'll offer 3 months rent up front, and then she rented the house to us, but she never asked for the 3 months rent up front. So that's just a little trick that I learned that seemed to be working fine. Anyway, folks, so now it's time to pack up again. Look, it's going to be a downgrade, I'm not going to lie to you. This house was amazing. The one that we're moving to, nice and big, much older, no view, big garden, but totally overgrown. Nice area, close to the school at least, so very centrally located, which is great. But it's going to be interesting. Let's see how it plays out. Okay, folks, have a good one.